Coffee with the Commish, coming to you from the house that Jimmy built. This is actually the lake house and quite the setup. We're in Colts Neck, New Jersey, where it is an honor and pleasure to have Jimmy Legs on the program. Jimmy Legs, it's been a long time. How are you?
I'm good. Don't if you don't mention my record, I'll be really good.
No promises there. No promises there. But before we proceed, as I mentioned, we are in a lake house, and if we can have the cameraman just show the league what we're working with here. Got a coffee set up. We got a nice fireplace. Jimmy Legs even provided some cake over here. This is, I gotta say, the Commish feels very welcomed in this environment. So
only the best
top class.
Only the best get to come out here.
Top class. So I think the last time I saw you was in 2014 at a watch party in Hoboken, unless...
That's probably right.
So 5 years ago now, and a lot has changed since then. Actually, that bar that we went to is no longer there. The only Browns fan was still in the league, and Mud Dogs and Blue Moon have not entered the league yet. So let's not make it 5 years after this one.
I agree.
So, so who is Jimmy Legs? Some background on you. You are the father to DeMountaineers and Giants Rule, or I should say DeMountaineers and Giants Rule. You were the Little League coach to Drug Infested Den. That was the classic Colts Neck Stampede team in the, I think, the late 90s, early 2000s. And you were, I think, just once my rec basketball coach. That was a championship team in the late 90s. So, yeah, that was a solid team, and that was probably the end of my basketball days. So, we go way back here. What kind of coffee are we drinking?
This is something called Ethiopian Guji. Guji being the region of Ethiopia it came from, which is probably most coffees are named like that, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's, I just get a shot. I never had it before.
It's very good.
So I said, we'll give it a try.
Nice and strong. It's very hot, very good.
I wasn't sure what the commissioner liked. I didn't know if the commissioner liked it weak, liked it strong, so I said,
strong.
I figured strong. Football player, strong.
Strong black coffee.
They drink paint. I figured that would.
How do you take your coffee?
Just a little cream.
Little cream?
Yeah, just a little.
Very nice, very nice. So, this is your first appearance on Coffee with the Commish. Unfortunately, we couldn't get you last year, but we did get you for season 2.
Good.
So, just as a reminder, we're going to talk, and we're getting a phone call here.
No, we're not.
We're going to talk about you for a little bit.
Okay.
Get down to business, of course, fantasy football, and then play a game of hit and run where I'm going to fire off some questions to you, and first thing that comes to mind, just spit it out.
Is this format change day? Because you mentioned format changing was coming.
There's going to be format changes for repeat guests. There is a twist to yours, though, and you'll see in a few moments.
You should be surprised.
There is a little bit of surprise. So let's talk about you first. You are officially retired as of last year.
Nope, 2015.
2015. So
yes,
my research team has failed me here. So how's retirement life?
It's actually pretty darn good. At first, it was hard to adjust. Probably your father had the same. Mean Machine had the same problem, but at first it was just hard to adjust to all the downtime. But you start doing little things. I do a lot of little things around. I don't do anything big.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my college roommate still lives nearby, so I hang out with him a lot.
A fellow mountaineer.
Huh?
A fellow mountaineer.
Fellow mountaineer.
Huh.
Yeah. And well, he was the reason I came to New Jersey. So.
Okay.
But I just and I like to learn. I decided in January that I was going to teach myself 5 languages in 5 years.
5? So 5 languages in 5 years. So what's this year's language?
Spanish, because there seems to be a lot of Spanish people around. So I figured that might help me a little bit, when I go to Freehold or something.
Do you have a go-to Spanish line right now?
No.
Nothing set up?
No. Le gusta la cerveza, which means I like beer. That's all it is. What else you need to know?
Yeah, did you know you were one of 4 retired guys in this league?
One of 4.
You?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Mean Machine, our cameraman, Pops Fish, and Untouchable.
Untouchable, yes.
Yeah, so 1 of 4. So
that's good. Out of 14, that's a big
14.
percentage.
It is a big percentage.
Yeah.
So
good.
We should have a retirement club formed or something over here. But before retirement, I believe you were a computer consultant. Again, that's at least what my research team has told me about.
That's right.
So what does that consist of?
Well, I was because I was a consultant. I was, me and several people. We would contract out to different companies for specific periods of time for specific work, design systems, that kind of thing. And I did it for since 1980, around 1980. Yeah, about 1980 on, I did it. And it turned out to be a good career because that was the blooming of the computer age.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad. And
So I believe Mud Dogs is a computer consultant or in a similar type of position. So the two of you probably should
I'm sure it's much different now. Than
connect
when I
at
was
some point. And
it's a great job if you like to tinker and if you like to dive into things and figure things out. I mean, it's that kind of thing. It can be a lone kind of thing, but it can be a group kind of thing too. But it's team play, all that kind of stuff. It's got everything, just like sports.
Well, if you need some retirement work, I believe Untouchable has Pops Fish come around each year for the draft to be his tech support person. So if you need any, to brush up on your computer consulting.
As soon as I learn these 5 languages.
Yes, as soon as you learn the 5 languages, you can head over to Freehold.
By the way, I'm not diving deep on these languages, by the way. I don't think I won't be fluent in 5 languages. This is so I can, when I see a sign in Spanish or French, I can read what it says.
So when I see you at future watch parties, you're not going to be talking in Chinese or anything?
We're not going to be talking in anything. You may write something down and say, what does this mean? I could do that. But by that time, you'll hold your phone up and it'll tell you what it's saying anyway. It does already. So.
Yes. So you are a graduate of West Virginia University. Proud Mountaineer, and football team struggling a little bit right now. New coach Neil Brown. What are your thoughts on the program and the trajectory?
I'm gonna tell you, it's a great program. It's great fun, and it's not a gigantic place, but it's great fun. We went down last week, right? We went down last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, and saw the opening. 2 weeks ago, James Madison.
Tight win, but they won.
Yeah, but not pretty.
Not pretty.
Not pretty. It didn't leave you warm and fuzzy for the rest of the season. But it's a great program. Got great following. It's a great atmosphere, and actually the town looks so much nicer now than it did when I was there. It's like revitalized. There's a big mall, there's big minor league baseball field. I mean, it really did a nice job. So I think the future is really good. You're never going to keep up with these big SEC teams or Big Ten teams. You can't do it. We just don't have the facility to do it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Don't be glad.
Well,
we're coming for you, Penn State.
No, I was going to say I'm glad to hear that Morgantown is up and coming, and the program is up and coming because I'm sure you already know Penn State, West Virginia, 2023, 2024. We're going to get the machine to come with us. Are you coming out to those games?
I'd like to. If I think we'll be competitive, I'll be there.
You'll be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I always think we'll be competitive.
Yeah, you'll be there. So
I'll miss Joe Pa. In 1973, I think it was. Joe Pa, I think they said won the Orange Bowl the year before, and they brought the student section. I was in the student section at the time. We get there like at 10 o'clock in the morning, sit in the stadium. I don't think they open the stadium until an hour before the game anymore. But Joe Pa and the team comes walking out on Mountaineer Field, the old Mountaineer Field, and he goes. The whole team goes over. and They start stomping up and down on the West Virginia in the middle of the field. Everybody starts throwing oranges at him. So it was. I love Joe Pa. But I hated Penn State.
Yeah.
It has to be. You can't have a choice.
It's the way it is.
Yeah, but it was exciting.
Those two teams haven't played in my lifetime, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll all do a big tailgate in 2023 and 2024. So
beautiful, good.
Inching up. So keeping on the theme of personal, I do have to ask you. My understanding is that you met Mrs. Legs at a popular bar or club just down the shore here. Is that accurate?
It's absolutely accurate. It was on. Well, I met her before. She lived across the street from me. But we didn't inhabit the same night's life at all. So it was the last day of the season. We had to get a ticket to go to the bar, and me and my friend decided that we were there to meet girls that night. We were just going to sit over there and sip on bourbon all night.
Very nice.
And Mrs. Light just happened to be standing in front of me. And after you've had a few bourbons, you figure, well, shouldn't I talk to some girl? And my friend looks and says, well, there's two right there in front of us. And one was Mrs. Light.
This was the Osprey in Madison?
No, it was actually Casablanca, which is no longer there.
Oh, okay. For some reason I thought it was the Osprey.
No, the Osprey was now that Casablanca was my favorite, but the Osprey was my really rock and roll Salvation. I don't know if you remember Salvation, Mean Machine, but they were so good. But remember my perspective. My perspective is next to nothing back in West Virginia. To come up here to see that, I mean, it would have been old hat for people up here.
Well, that's a very cool story, and local, right down the street too.
Oh, loved it.
So I do have, and here's the twist we talked about: 2 anonymous questions from members of the league. You could probably, figure out
from
members of the league. Yeah,
okay.
2 individuals.
Okay.
The first question. So these are real legit questions. First question is, who is your favorite son?
Favorite son?
Favorite son.
You know that commercial on TV about the blocks? What is that block thing that's around the pool? There's he's told him to pick a favorite son. He said he'd never tell. You remember that? You probably don't watch TV, don't they? The kids don't watch TV anymore. They don't. They watch. They stream something They play games.
I'm gonna look up this commercial after this.
Yeah.
He liked the bricks.
He liked the bricks. He said, "I'll never tell which one's my favorite." Who's my favorite son? Well, you know, Sean's is a diehard West Virginia fan, so you got to give him credit for that, which makes him dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Right? Patrick was a baseball player, which was my
sport.
love from the beginning. Was my love. It was baseball, so got to give him that. So it's probably I'm not. I'll never tell.
Never tell. Okay.
I can't tell. It'd be terrible if I did tell.
It's a good answer. The second question is, and most people in the league won't know what this is about, but that's okay. At what age do you believe Andrew Schoenholtz peaked in his basketball career? Andrew Schoenholtz was a member of the Colts Neck travel basketball team in late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know.
I would say 11.
11.
11 was the number I'd say. It was going to be before middle school.
Okay.
But I think he peaked before middle school.
The anonymous person that asked that question will be happy with your answer, so we'll leave it at that.
He doesn't live up north, does he? The anonymous person?
He doesn't live near here, I'll leave you that. So. We'll get down to business. So, talking fantasy football now, it is your 11th season in the league. You joined in 2009 with Mean Machine, or you could say you were hoodwinked into joining with the Machine.
I'm glad we were.
Okay.
I'm glad we were.
At least one of you are happy about it. Can you believe it's been 11 years you've been doing this?
Cannot. It went really fast, and it's amazing just how bad I am at this. But I do enjoy it.
Well, you did ask me not to mention your overall record, but I do have to.
I understand.
It is the business here.
Could you put 100 in front of that first number you're going to mention?
So your overall record is 67-77. So, I mean, you're not far off from 500.
I'm the Mets, is what you're trying to say.
You're not a mess. There are people with worse winning percentages than you. You do have a third place finish to your name in 2015. Last year you went 5-8, 6-7 the year prior. So a couple down years for the Jimmy Legs. But how are we feeling about this year's team?
I was feeling great till the first game, because you always, number one, I go usually because I'm not always, but I'm where I was. I think I was that the 8th spot
last year.
This year, I mean the pick.
Oh, the pick. I don't have that in my notes.
Well, anyway, so when I'm at that position or lower, I always go receivers first. I mean, that just seems like everybody seems to think that's the right way to go. So you depend on the quarterback being healthy, which a couple years ago I picked Deshaun Watson and Fuller, and immediately he broke his leg or something. I don't remember what it was. It was major injury. He was out, and then I lost. Nobody was throwing to Fuller anymore, so I lost both of them. And this year I said, well, this year, Tyreek Hill, good pick. And I said, I think Nick Foles is going to put up some good numbers.
Oh.
And I didn't get out of the first quarter for either one of them of the first game. And Tyreek Hill's gone, and he's 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. You can't overcome people like that.
I guess you just have to root for injuries to other teams.
Well, that's the whole. The whole thing. I think for the success in this league is really you need depth. Depth and luck. If you don't have depth, people who have depth, people they can rely on behind them, have a much better chance, I think.
So you're 0-1 this season, but it's a very young season.
Good fight though, because that was a good battle there to the end on last week.
Yeah, good contest week 1. This week you're playing your son Giants Rule. So this will air the morning of the game. So any smack talk for your youngest born?
Well, he's not going to win. I mean, if that's. I mean, I already chalked this one up to the W column.
Yeah. 1-1 on the season.
Absolutely, there's no way he's going to win. I got his number. I win all the time. I probably don't if you look at it.
I did not research that. Don't worry.
Thank you.
But who would you say is your biggest rival in the league if you had to pick one? Is it one of your sons? Is it the Machine since you entered the same year? Or somebody else?
Well, the one the bar. He's the Mean Machine's the bar.
Yeah.
Yes. If I beat Mean Machine, I had a good season. If the Lights beat the Moore's family, how we used to have that contest. Yes. The Lights beat the Moore family. That feels a good season.
Okay. Well, little known secret, the Machine. If there's only one team he beats, he wants to beat you. So he can be league with you.
I think we set that bar right at the first year. I think we set that bar. That's what we said.
Nice,
if I beat him, I have a good season.
Nice friendly rivalry.
Oh, that's great.
Now, when you first entered the league, you were actually not Jimmy Legs. You were Wally's Warriors from 2009 to 2011. Well, background on what that name is?
Wally's my dog.
Oh.
And I was trying to pay him a little tribute here. He's still hanging around. He's 15 and a half years old.
Very nice.
And one of the reasons we're not having this up in the house is because he sheds hair like crazy. And he's so unstable. So that's all I can. But that's why I picked Wally's Warriors, and that's we picked Wally's name from Ben Wallace of Detroit.
Oh.
That was Patrick's favorite player at the time, basketball. But it wasn't my first choice. I was trying to look around the house, see if it was something I liked. So.
Well, Jimmy Legs has seemed to
Well,
stick since then.
Before Jimmy Legs, it was Crazy Legs. Crazy Legs. I didn't put it in. I didn't change my name to that because Crazy Legs Hirsch was a great running back out of Wisconsin. Played for the Rams. I just liked the name, so it was going to be Crazy Legs. But it just so happened on the day that I was going to put in the name of my team, I was watching Seinfeld, and the Jimmy Legs episode came on. And I just started laughing. I said, I can't be Crazy Legs. I gotta be Jimmy Legs.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember that one. That's where Kramer couldn't sleep with his four fingers in the Jimmy Legs.
Yes. And then we find out, I think, George's parents have separate beds because of the Jimmy Legs.
Because of Jimmy Legs as
well.
well. Yes, that's the reason.
Well, it is personally one of my favorite names.
And actually, the mascot, I used Beaker as my mascot. I had a good friend in college. He played football. But he was like the West Virginia State cross country champion. And he only wanted to punt, but he's a good punter, so he only wanted to punt for the team. And he told the coach, I only want to punt. I don't want to practice anywhere else. I just want to punt. So one day in practice, coach said, well, I'm going to put you defensive back because I'm short of players. He goes, why? And so we had this one future NFL running back who liked to show his stuff. You know, so if he broke through the line and you're between him and the goal line, he didn't want to get to the goal line first. He wanted to run right through you. He needed to run over you to see what you're made of. And Stanley wanted no part of being run over. So I was actually watching this practice. And Stanley had that same kind of Beaker hair, red hair.
Yeah.
And this guy broke through the line, and he comes running for Stanley. And Stanley's there with those big eyes, and he's running away from the guy, like serpentining down the field. And the guy's chasing him, trying to run him over. I said, well, that is Stanley right there. That picture of him with the red hair, the big eyes, because he didn't want to get killed by this guy. So that's why.
That's the origin of your mascot.
That's the origin of my mascot.
Very nice. And now we know all about the team name and mascot. So that's some good stuff. Where was I here? So drug-infested Den, I'm going to bring him up for a moment, used to affectionately describe you as the sweetheart of the league. Do you recall that? Maybe not?
Yeah, maybe.
He mentioned you were the sweetheart of the league. This is years ago. However, a year or two ago, he stripped you of that title.
It's not right.
Not right at all.
Not right.
And he's since given it to Mud Dogs. So I guess the reason behind that was he recalled how from a travel basketball team, he felt he was clearly better than some of the other players.
Maybe the guy we just talked about.
Maybe the guy we just talked about who had peaked at age 11. So he stripped you of that title. But would love to get your side of, drug-infested dens, little thought there.
Well, if I had it all to go over again, I mean, the fellow we mentioned before, his father was quite oppressive over there on the sidelines, which made it difficult to coach anything.
I know what you mean.
So, and I knew the Moore family. Moore family, whatever you tell them to do, they're going to do it. If I tell you or Ryan to take this ball and run right through the wall. Don't open the door. Run right through the wall. You're going to give it your best shot to run through that wall. You just will. And I like that attitude. But I thought Andrew could shoot better at the time. That's the only reason. If I wanted somebody to take somebody out or play tenacious defense, because Andrew wasn't going to play defense, but if I could play tenacious defense, it would have been Ryan.
So we'll look forward to drug-infested Den's rebuttal once we
and
film the next episode.
I've always said he's my favorite baseball player.
Favorite baseball player?
On any team I ever coached, he was my favorite baseball because he would raise havoc once he got on first base. Because that pitcher wouldn't know what was going on because he'd be shaking around up there and jumping, because he had so much energy.
Well, if this guy's not the sweetheart of the league, I mean, I don't know who is. So, I mean, as Commish, I will hereby override drug-infested Den.
Thank you.
Declare you once again sweetheart of the league. Plus, Mud Dogs, he won a championship last year, and once you win a title, you're not quite as innocent anymore. So, you are the sweetheart.
That's it. So as long as I'm the sweetheart, I'm a loser. I can stay sweetheart for a long time.
Last business question, then we'll get to hit and run. Your sons released some new content earlier this week. I don't know if you saw the video. What were your thoughts, and are you going to have any appearances on that show?
Well, they don't even know I've watched it, I suppose, but I like lively banter. I love point counterpoint. I love that they talk about things, and it's energetic. So I think it's good stuff.
I thought it was quite entertaining. I think my favorite parts.
What's what you want to be entertained?
Yeah, my laugh out loud moment was the cut to the commercials for
Oh yeah.
4A Health. So.
Well, he'll try anything.
Yeah,
That guy. He'll try anything.
That was some good stuff.
I admire him for it though.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got so much passion. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, no, that was good stuff. Ready for some hit and run?
Sure.
Okay. Favorite meal?
Favorite meal?
Yeah.
Oh, filet mignon, no doubt.
Filet mignon. I assume rare, or it was medium rare, or
I always just make it pink.
make it pink?
Yeah,
Okay.
make it pink, and I love it.
Good. Favorite movie?
Well, being a baseball guy, there's some great movies out there. Jaws, Rocky, a bunch of those kind of films. And then I said, and I actually thought about this. I said, which baseball movie do I really like? And I said, well, I was a pitcher, Kevin Costner did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I said, for love of the game, I like the way he ended his career for love of the game, when he stopped pitching, I was a pitcher, so. But, and I tell you what, there's two movies. In the black and white era, Pride of the Yankees. Nothing better than Gary Cooper in the Pride of the Yankees. I thought that was wonderful. But it's got to be Field of Dreams. So there's nothing like out by a field throw a ball with your dad. I mean, how do you say that's not a great
Yeah,
in the middle of the cornfield.
Good selection. Who would oh, go ahead.
And besides that, when we were up in Cooperstown at the Dreams Park, they had a big cornfield behind the field, which made it even more exciting.
So who would play you in a movie?
See, I thought about that too, because you asked the same question. I think the Blue Moon.
Some favorites here.
So I said. Let me look at my cheat sheet.
It's okay. You got some notes over here.
I don't even think I wrote it down quite frankly.
Untouchable had some notes last year too. So.
Oh, I know what I said. I didn't put it down. Ted Danson.
Ted Danson.
Because he's kind of got my sense of humor a little bit.
Oh.
And I like the way he's pretty quick.
Oh.
And I like the way he
It's
thinks.
a nice pick. Favorite book?
Favorite book?
Yeah, so if we have a reading club or a book club.
Yeah, I do like to read. I usually don't read for fun. I usually read to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I just don't know because I usually just read and I don't really pay much attention to what the titles of the book are. Let's just say the Bible.
The Bible. Can't go wrong with that answer.
Can't go wrong with
right?
the Bible.
Yeah, can't go wrong there. Your second favorite college football team?
Second favorite college football team. Well, who do I root for now?
Just don't say like Ohio State or
Nah, because I don't
Rutgers
like
or.
I never really liked because I always those silver spoon teams like Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan. I don't want to go in there. I would probably say Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Because they lose more than we do.
All right, that's a good reason. That is a good.
I mean, you always count them. That was one of the teams you always put in the W column every year. I'm sure that
now it's on our schedule.
in the Big Ten, you always
so,
put that. I'm sure it's already in your W column.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty nice. Best team name in the league besides your own name.
Yeah. Because I was when I was a kid, I followed Cincinnati Reds. They were the Big Red Machine.
Mm-hmm.
And when he named himself the Mean Machine, I was like, yeah, that's a great name. So I have to go with Mean Machine.
Mean Machine. Can't go wrong with that. Worst team name.
Well, sadly, it's going to be yours team, Nittany Lions.
Really?
Not because I hate the name. It's because we had a 25-year losing streak, you guys, and it's just hard to take. Mm-hmm. But it's really a nice name. I don't really hate any of them. Okay. I don't understand Madison Hedgecox. I know it's a player, but
yeah, it's just some random guy.
Just some random guy.
Yeah.
But probably just Nittany Lions for collegiate reasons.
Collegiate reasons. Okay,
yeah.
Makes sense. You're getting dinner with 3 people in the league. Who are you taking?
3 people. Well, Mean
Machine, okay.
Mean Machine. Since I eat with my kids all the time, I'm not taking them. Probably Pop's Fish.
Pop's Fish. You get one more.
Oh, 3 people. That's right.
Yeah.
How about you, Commissioner?
Appreciate the invite. If you can't win the Moore League this year, who would you like to see be the championship team?
Untouchable.
Untouchable. Yeah, I think I would pick the same.
The guy works hard, I think. Yeah, I know. He said. I think last year, I don't know if he said it or somebody else said it. He worked that draft like crazy. I mean, he was really, and he's trading on the waiver wire all the time. I mean, I love it. So I'll pick him.
Honest question: do you remember ever meeting him or no?
I might have been at your apartment. Was he not at that party?
He's attended every watch party. He claims he does not remember meeting you, but there's a picture where you're both in it.
At your what? Was he at your what?
He was there too. But I think 2014, that last watch party in Hoboken.
Yeah, because I thought we were over in your living room over there. I thought maybe we might have met.
Well, he's eager to meet you, so
good.
We'll have to make that happen.
Maybe I have to take him for dinner too.
You bring him to dinner as well. So you get one question for the commish. What is it?
Well, my one question would be is if you had not gone to Penn State, where would you have gone, and what would your team name have been had you not gone to Penn State? I mean, this question's probably been asked to you before, but I don't know the answer.
So Untouchables, we're on the theme here. He did ask me a question last year about where I may have gone to school if not for Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
I told him Hawaii. He was disgusted by that answer. I thought it'd just be nice to go out to school in Hawaii. Not Rutgers, not West Virginia.
Yeah.
I'll stick with Hawaii.
Hawaii. And what would your team name have been?
The Rainbow Warriors.
Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah, in all caps, of course. Rainbow Warriors.
But you know, rainbow has a lot of connotations in this world today. So you would have taken a lot of you for rainbow.
I may have just been Warriors by this point. So we appreciate you having the program here at the Lake House, again, at the house that Jimmy built. There's only one way to close out Coffee with the Commish this week, and I would not do this for To Mountaineers or Giants Rule, but I will do it for Jimmy Legs, and that's with a song that's probably near and dear to your
I
heart.
should have said this was my favorite song, by the way.
If we get connections, stay tuned. Cameraman, if we could just zoom into Jimmy Legs with the song on here.
I'm not singing it. I should have picked this song though. Even though this guy, when he wrote it, he wasn't even West Virginia, I don't think.
Really?
I don't even think he wrote it. I think the Kingston Trio wrote it, or somebody, or one of those groups wrote it. It's a good song though. And it is because this is a song they sing after every game. So it's kind of like everybody sings in the stadium.
Even if they lose?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I won't be hearing this in Morgantown in 2024 then.
No, you probably will be hearing it.
Oh, yeah?
I know what you're trying to do. You probably will be hearing it.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Coffee with the Commish, and we'll see you next week.